Hello, I am the Queen of Clovers, and my name is Rachel. Welcome to my channel. It is July 31st, 2019. We're approaching the evening here in Pacific Standard Time for that new moon energy, that black moon in Leo. And it's time to just, sit down and tell you guys how I manifested my soulmate. I promised you this recording when I got 100 subscribers. I now have 250 subscribers, which I'm very proud of and I'm very thankful. Definitely keep subscribing. I would love to monetize the channel. I don't want to interrupt anything with ads, and I don't want to sell you anything. I have been asking for tips and donations. I've bought new cards with that money. Definitely tip and donate if you are moved. That is paypal.me/Bridget Clover Queen. However, if you do feel like donating to your favorite charity or cause, that would be a good time as well. I would just really like to just give to this channel and just, use YouTube for the financing part. Alright, so, here we go. How did I manifest my soulmate? It doesn't really matter. It's all about intention, intention, intention. So what you do is you just find a way to set that intention. Vision boards are great. Anything from a magazine like Claire, it's not even, what is it, Elle is a really good one. They publish these things about setting your intentions all the time. They're a good resource. They'll get you there decently. Now, this is the book that I've used for over 20 years. I've used it for almost 22 years. It is Your Heart's Desire by Sonia Choquette. That is a shameless plug of a book that was published in 1997 that I have a ridiculous amount of notes on. I've done the work several times in several different colors. This is actually my second copy of the book because the first one was ripped to shreds. This book got me into USC. It got me through USC. And, of course, it called in my first soulmate. I met in 2001, a Pisces. It was wonderful to begin with. I got everything I wanted. I specifically wanted a friend, and I wanted a co-partner. At the time, I was a single mom, and I knew this person had to be a good dad and a good husband. And he was. He really was, to begin with. Of course, that unfortunately didn't last. I'm going to run a reader's reading to tell my story in more depth because I don't know how to tell it honestly and what to say because it's kind of, people think I'm an innocent kid and maybe I am, but I've been through some shit. So I'm going to pull a reader's reading to kind of tell you how it went in my past. But the second time I manifested my soulmate, I had just gone through what I now know was my spiritual awakening and opened up a lot of my energies. All my original prognostications or what have you had to do with presidents and babies and deaths. And I was able to prognosticate a lot of that, especially celebrity deaths, mostly because the energy pulls in from the whole wide world. Of course I love Michael Jackson's music, but I wasn't like a desperate fan, and I hadn't seen him live or anything like that. But the morning of the day he died, I started putting on his music, and I started by about 7 in the morning, I knew he was going to die within the next week, and he actually died, I think it was 9:30 that morning. And that was the time when I realized I needed to maybe look into this a little deeper because I was getting scared. But that was a while ago. In 2017, I went through a breast cancer scare. I actually did have a lumpectomy, went through the whole business, and it did cause quite a spiritual change. And things were not good with my first soulmate. And I actually did the workbook again. And I did another workbook where I used my own energies and used my own powers and abilities to manifest all 4 energies, all 4 elements, and bring in my soulmate. And I did it to bring my husband closer to me, and it brought me somebody else. So that's why I'm going to do a reader's reading. That would be my Aquarius. So, but yeah, I did actually do that. I sometimes you don't know how powerful you are until you do it, but it's all about intention and desperation. because the second time around, I was extremely desperate, and as long as your soulmate is matching your energy, they're going to step forward and meet you. Alright, so, first card here, I do have the Four of Cups. This is just like, there's no love anymore, and this is how I felt that second time. My marriage was very, it wasn't very loving, and it was very, very dry, and I could not reach my ex-husband at the time, my ex-husband to, he just wouldn't step forward with me. So I have the Six of Wands in reverse. This was not looking pretty, and it wasn't. It was becoming obvious that this marriage was going to end, and I was pretty sure, based on certain events, that he didn't love me anymore. There's no way he could love me the way he treated me, and I was just sticking around for... I felt like he was waiting for me to die so he could be a really cool widow, and I don't know why that kept playing out in my head, but it did, unfortunately. And so I convinced that he did love me, and oh wow, this is pretty, like, dead on. Okay, so now I have the Four of Coins. I realized I was low on spiritual energy. I realized that I wasn't having enough sex, because that is the fastest way for me to energize. So I knew I had to build up my energy, so I actually went and sought out a partner to build up my energy. Because the Page of Cups, this is just the most immature love. Apparently, he did love me. I thought he didn't, but he did. He says he. So, apparently, that he was just childish. There are things that he just never told me that would have helped a lot. And I'm not even sure it's true. So, I met the King of Swords, and yeah, it was pretty bright. I met this air sign, an Aquarius, King of Swords. Our energies were a perfect match. I could feel his energy. I could feel his energy on his body. Yeah, that was the Seven of Swords, and yes, I was stolen away from the spouse. I did not leave my marriage because I met a King of Swords. I left my marriage because my marriage was over. It had been over for a long time, so it was not like a major theft, because I still have trouble believing that my ex was so happy in the relationship. I was suffering so badly. I was physically dying, because I also... when I realized that was a problem, and as I procrastinated on breaking off my marriage, and I've met this great partner that it just freaks me out because it's so amazing. But there's just sad marriage going on, and I was basically dying. I began to bleed uncontrollably, menstruate uncontrollably. Ew, I know, but to the point where I was actually bleeding to death from the inside out from my uterus. Very dramatic. I know it was dramatic, and it was because I was not being honest. The minute I had that surgery to remove my uterus, I had to have a hysterectomy or die. I was fine, because I also made the decision that this marriage was... it had to end, and even if we didn't end as a couple, or we came back together in the future, it had to end. Because we were so dysfunctional. So dysfunctional. The way he fed into my anxiety and just my need to be, cocooned was a little too close for comfort. Not close for comfort, that's a bad word. Spirit. Judgment. Yeah, I was getting a lot of what I deserved, and it was like we weren't evolving. Neither one of us was evolving or growing, and we did raise a very lovely family, but again, like I said, we weren't growing, we weren't evolving, we were both cocooning each other, we were both making life really easy for each other, and I still don't understand, I still don't understand how my ex thought he was happy, because, yeah, 7 of Cups in reverse, no options. Well, that's when I made the decision. And the 9 of Diamonds in reverse, and I stepped out on my own with basically almost nothing. The Magician in reverse, I wasn't manifesting. This relationship was just not about it. I wasn't manifesting. I couldn't even feel my energy. Like when you do this with your hands, you can kind of feel your energy grow, and you can even build a ball in your mind. You can feel that. There is something there. And, and you can like take it into you and make yourself feel stronger or happier, or you can actually practice on meditating away headaches. There are things, and people can do this. There's no reason why you can't. And I wasn't doing any of it anymore, and it was just burdensome. 10 of Wands. This is a really tough relationship, and it did feel the 7. I did say I made a decision. No, I was pretty fucking indecisive. I couldn't even decide what we wanted for dinner. 90% of the time, I couldn't decide what I wanted to eat. And I actually had a major allergy period where I didn't eat gluten. And it did heal my stomach. It does work. But I was able to reintroduce gluten into my diet. But I have this major allergy, and I still can't be like, I want to eat here because I want to be happy. I stayed too long, that's for darn sure. But none of that, this is kind of how I got both. Basically, my whole life flipped upside down, and it was not an option at the time. If I did not do this, if I did not meditate my way through a very severe breast cancer scare, that, unbelievable scare. Did not know until I got the phone call that it was absolutely benign. Until the doctor called. I mean, staring at my phone for a week. It's unbelievable. It was actually like 3 days. But nonetheless, it was so dramatic that I had to adjust. I had to invoke my spirit. I had to balance so much energy, this 2 of Swords. I had to balance the way I appeared to the world, because my children were there watching me suffer through this, and it was really pretty traumatic. And then, 6 months later, and we're going through the same thing again, this time with my uterus. And it was definitely because by the end of summer, it was completely clear that my ex thought everything was peachy keen with our marriage, and I did not, and I had decided it was time to work on something else. With the 8 of Pence, and there were also a lot of people in our marriage. A lot of people working on our marriage. Extra people, just extra family members, extra, divided energies. We just weren't together anymore. So let's take a look at this King of Swords. So this King of Swords brought me the 3 of Cups. Yes, I was happy for the first time in a very long time, and I was happy to be myself, and I was happy to just indulge, because life, right? Why not? There were a lot of rules and regulations, and Aries don't do well with rules and regulations. We like to make our own rules, and some of them are pretty darn good. We're not so terrible. But, yeah, I have the 5 of Wands in upright and the Knight of Coins in reverse. Yeah, there was no money, there was no benefit, there were no perks to me following all these rules. Sometimes I couldn't even put gas in my car because the money was gone, and my ex was on the golf course playing golf. So I couldn't put gas in my car for the week ahead for work. on like a Saturday morning. So it was a really tough marriage too. And it became, I mean, my ex says no, but I felt like I was being financially controlled. My time was being controlled. My anxiety was being used against me sometimes to get what he wanted or to go where he wanted. Knowing, even though I wanted to go a certain place, I was a little anxious about it, knowing I would collapse to go another way, and, you know, little things like that. So it's, I don't know, I'm still not comfortable discussing this, but it's time to get it out there, right, team? New moon energy. This is what I needed to know for the new moon. And I asked Spirit, how do you want me to tell it? And that's how I'm going to tell it. So I did call my soulmate twice. Like I said, it's all about intentions, all about desire. If you are in a precarious position and you ask for help, actually, I'm supposed to talk about this. This video is getting long, but I do need to talk about this. When I realized my ex didn't love me, I was probably very suicidal. I did not want to kill myself because I'm so pro-life that I did go through a spiritual change with the death penalty and actually watched on TV the coverage of the death penalty. I've overcome that. It's pretty disgusting. It is pretty disgusting as humans that we have the death penalty, even though it seems like the right punishment. It's okay, team. I'm still working on that one, but I'm so extremely pro-life. I probably couldn't kill myself. I can barely kill worms in my garden. I hate them. And snails too. I hate them. Yeah, I'm weak in that department maybe. But the point being is, when you cannot kill yourself because you have a connection to life, you love life. Even if you are suicidal or you are so desperately, I guess I wasn't suicidal because I didn't want to kill myself, but I was really that depressed. And when you're that depressed and you're not suicidal, you rebel. And that is why I actually had my affair. And when you get that low, it's why it's important that you manage your emotions when you're sad and don't get so low and so incapable of movement and so stuck and trapped, Eight of Swords here, that you can't see that you could just walk out the front door and change the way life is. So it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and I became weaker. And of course, eventually I decided I wanted to fire up as an Aries and get the fuck out of Dodge and just change my life and just be happy. You know, why be miserable and then go through a breast cancer scare to back to miserable? That was not going to fucking happen. So, unable to pull the trigger, I guess, on myself, I absolutely did rebel, and I did have an affair, and it was a grave mistake. I know that I was called to a soulmate through that, but it doesn't justify the action. I understand why it happened. I keep reading the articles on it to really get it, because that's not me. It wasn't me, but I was actually stepping out of my unhappy current life a lot and stepping into other identities. I did that roles and goals kind of thing, a very Anthony Robbins thing I was on to, and I absolutely was living everything in separateness. Like, I was absolutely happy with my children. I even had roles and goals and desires for them as their mother that I was, you know, working on them with energy and just encouragement and listening, things that I knew my children needed that I had to give them no matter the fact that I was probably dying at the time. So I was working on it, but I was living in complete separate little cubicles. Like, there's Ethan, there's Gabriel, there's my ex, there's, you know, my mom, there's whatever, you know, there's all these people, and it was just completely separate. And then how I could be with those people was completely separate. And if you were negative energy, I just started cutting you off, started pushing you away further and further and further. And unfortunately, that turned out to also be my husband at the time. And I'm really sorry about that. I didn't think he would care, to be honest. That's where my thinking was. I was pretty sure, damn sure, he did not love me at all based on the way he treated me. And if that was the case, then I couldn't hurt him, could I? So it was, you know, nobody loves me, kind of that very depressed, sad brain. So when people are acting out, there's something there, and we all know it. It's not like you're going to be able to pull it out of somebody at all times, but definitely when somebody acts out quite suddenly, even very positively, if it's just a sudden change, definitely reach in and find out where it's coming from, because it's not always coming from a good place. And even if it seems like a positive action, there might still be a negative that's lit the match. Alright, so that is me. That is how I called in my soulmate. And please like, subscribe, comment, share to my channel. I definitely hope to share more about how I became open to spirituality, how I learned how to read the cards, how I learned how to have a YouTube channel with the cards. It's only taken like 4 months for me to get this far and feel this confident, especially with the cards, that I can actually read whole tarot cards instead of just the pip cards. So we're all getting somewhere, and definitely come and ride with me on this one, because just get messages from Spirit, see where the world is going, and hopefully just bring up our vibration and just, you know, be happy. That's the point, is just to be happy. And it doesn't mean ignore, even though I do kind of have that trouble as an Aries. I can push away a mess as easily as the next dude. But we do want to live in happiness and balance and not to have to worry. So that's why we handle our shit, is so we can live in that kind of happy place. Never that imbalance of constant worry and panic. It'll wear on your body. It'll kill you. It almost killed me more than once in a year. So, and that is my story. It's a little tough to go through. It's very cold and dry the way I've told it just now, because I don't want to cry under this new moon. And I do feel like crying, because, you know, I'm going to be going into separation with my aqua very soon. And it's planned, but, you know, I don't think I'm ready for it. Yeah. He listens. So, alright, thank you everyone for watching. Of course, again, enjoy this new moon. Definitely, you know, do your vision boards. Just write that shit down in the biggest detail you can, down to the color of the house you're going to have and where you're going to park your car in that driveway, if that's what you want. And I even plan out what side of the bed I'm going to sleep on. The woman is supposed to sleep on the left. If you're on your back, the woman is supposed to sleep on the left side of the bed. That's, you know, unless your lover is left-handed, which I will explain when I begin my intimate deck readings with the Decameron deck, working on that. But that's in the future. That'll be for our next turn in Venus. I already did our Venus and Leo readings, but I will do our next Venus readings with that deck. Very hot readings expected. So thank you again. I need to check out of here. I think I've done enough damage. All right. Good night, everyone, and good luck under your wishes tonight.